Good morning, everybody. We've got a mixed trade in the grain markets here early on Monday morning. It is 6:30 a.m. Central Time. December corn futures are unchanged at 379 and 3/4. November soybeans down half a cent at 10.20 and a quarter. We've got December Chicago wheat up 8 3/4 at 582. We've got December Kansas City wheat up 9 1/4 at 518 and 3/4. December spring wheat is up 5.5 cents at 537 and a quarter. So row crops mostly unchanged here. We've got a higher trade in the wheat market. A lot of news in the CFTC report, or actually in that paired with the private estimates. Fund traders were likely record long the soybean market as of Friday's close. The estimate from private groups was that the funds were long 250,000 contracts of beans at Friday's close. That would exceed the previous record of 241,000 from 2011 if realized. On the other side of the market would be the hedgers or the commercials. The producer, merchant, processor, user category of traders was record short 368,000 contracts, according to CFTC. Open interest in the soybean market is near record high, so we've got some high stakes poker going on in this bean market, certainly. Private groups estimating that funds were net long 128,000 contracts of corn. That's a fairly modest, it's a modest to getting aggressive net long in corn, I suppose. It would be the largest net long in 14 months if realized. Still not an extreme in the corn market, though. And the SRW wheat private groups estimating that funds were net long 32,000 contracts at Friday's close. That's kind of toward the upper end of what we've seen in terms of fund length in recent months, but not an extreme by any means. USDA will release its monthly crop production and WASDE report on Friday. This report is likely to result in some volatility. USDA is of course going to have to make some adjustments based on those lighter September 1st stocks numbers. The other big question is whether or not the government decides to change the corn and soybean yield and production numbers. I think that'll be one of the more closely watched items. So I'll have some more estimates for you as the week goes on here. One group, IHS Markit, that's Informa or Sparks, they pegged the corn yield at 177.8. USDA was at 178.5 in September. They pegged the soybean yield at 51.9, which would be on par with USDA's September estimate. We will see some more estimates from private groups as the week goes on here. Weather forecasts for the Corn Belt and for the Plains, really pretty dry still. You're not going to see much at all here over the next 7 days. Over the weekend, there were some areas of Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio that saw some light rain. Really nothing overly substantial, though. And you look at the next 7 days and out even further than that, things will be very dry for most of the Corn Belt and most of the Southeast, or most of the plains. The Southeast will see rains associated with tropical storms this week that could bring some fairly heavy amounts. But overall, I think corn and soybean harvest still a pretty wide open window here. Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue said that China may fall short of its phase one trade deal commitment. This shouldn't really be any news. His quote in a speech to a farm group, "I'm not sure they're going to make it, but they're trying." That's what he said. Non-agricultural trade issues get in the way. So during the first half of the year, China was very, very much lagging the pace needed to hit this $36.5 billion purchase target. They've obviously ramped up buying significantly as of late. I don't know how you track where they're at right now. I mean, this is part of the problem with tracking things in dollars versus actual amounts. The issue of sales versus shipments also comes into play. So I don't know how to track this thing. If you do, certainly let me know. The corn market is acting really well. We're only 5 cents from those highs from last week, from multi-month highs in December corn futures. Fund traders are building length in the market, smack dab in the middle of U.S. harvest. This is one of the more pronounced contra-seasonal rallies that we've seen in the corn market in a long, long time. Go back and look at last week's podcast and YouTube video about other contra-seasonal years in the corn market. There was some interesting stuff in there. So keep an eye on Friday's report. Likely to be some volatility associated with that, I believe. Soybean market, again, funds record long, commercials record short. open interest near record high. These are some interesting times here. The South American weather situation should be monitored. Brazil is off to kind of a slow start in some areas with planting. In Mato Grosso, they've got less than, as of last week, they had less than 2% of the soybean crop planted. They were at 1.7%. They were 6.7% last year, and it's about 9.6% on average. That's the largest soybean producing state. So it's early, but we've got to keep an eye on the South American weather thing. Continued dryness in Russia is a problem as farmers there plant their crops. Global prices have been strong. We've got a weaker U.S. dollar this morning. So the Kansas City wheat market, I'm looking at some of this deferred stuff. July 2021, Kansas City wheat at 538. That's the best trade in a long, long time. So if you're planting some winter wheat here this week, you're in the process of doing it. Keep your eye on some of those deferred prices. Cash cattle traded anywhere from 106 to 109 last week. I think 107 to 108 caught the majority of what happened late in the week. We will see what develops with that here this week. Ahead of the cash open, the Dow is up 200 points. The S&P is up 23. They say Trump may be out of the hospital today. We'll see what happens. I don't know if that is a big deal for the markets or not. The bonds are down. U.S. dollars down a little bit. Crude oil is up $1.55, 38.60 in the November WTI. Precious metals are mixed. Remember, if you'd like some more information, as always, visit my website, www.standardgrain.com. Go to that website, click on Grain Marketing Plan, check out my subscription service for $49 a month. You get my morning email, my text message service. You will be alerted as to when, how, and specifically, I am pricing corn, soybeans, and wheat throughout the year. It's broken down by crop year, and percentage. I had some new stuff just this morning, as a matter of fact. Everyone have a wonderful week. I will talk to you same time tomorrow.